Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I am a Western astrologer and Twin Flame channel. I am going to make this video about how to read your own union chart. So for those of you who have reached out, who want to do this, but for whatever reason, um, scheduling with me isn't the right thing to do at this time. This video is going to walk you through how to create your own union chart and what to learn from it, etc. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button on the video and the bell. That way, the content that's getting put out will reach people who need to find it. The more interaction we have here via all the buttons, the more the algorithm values the content as something that people want to see. So thank you for those of you who've already done that. Let's go ahead and dive into a couple of things. So the first thing I kind of wanted to say is that a union chart is the chart that I use. My guides kind of showed me this method to work with. It's the date of the first significant meeting of you and your twin flame. And the earliest you can track back, the better. I believe that there are no accidents, that our lives are divinely governed and ordained and led. So if you can't find the very first date, but you have the first date of something significant between the two of you. So this would be your first kiss or other intimacy, first I love you, or first time you recognized who he was or she was, or the first time, the two of you, really kind of got the aha, perhaps, that this is something bigger and much deeper than, this standard vanilla off the shelf relationship. Any significant first is what you can use for your union chart. Not only that, but for twins who have known each other for many, many, many years, and, before we had, cell phone records where we could trace back when that first text was, you can also use the most recent first as opposed to the oldest first. Because as you know, if you're a twin, your relationship moves in cycles. The relationship is lifelong. The connection is never truly over or severed. You can certainly ignore it. That free will allows you to do whatever you like with the connection. But if you've got a very recent, like we just came out of separation, or no communication last year, and the communication was 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, or several years, then you can use that date of the most recent significant connection as your union chart. And what that will do is it will give you an idea of the cycle that the two of you are in right now. And I call this a union chart specifically because if the two of you have met, the activation has occurred. No matter how one or the other of you as twins is dealing with that activation, ignoring it, engaging it, etc., the activation has occurred. And what happened in that moment of that birthing, of the two of you coming together, is that two moved into a cycle of one energy. And that is why I call it a union chart. Now the two of you are walking along the same path, even if the two of you are not physically together. So the software that I use for this is called Time Passages. You can see, the little icon down there at the bottom of my screen. I'll be sure to link that under the video. It's a really brilliant software. It was exceptionally helpful to me when I'm not going to say learning astrology, because it definitely feels like I was remembering it as opposed to learning it from a past life. What I love about the software, and I'll just show you a couple things on this particular sample chart, is when you click on a planet, let's just say up here, ninth house, we've got Saturn here in Libra. If I click on it, it gives me all the information I could possibly want to know about Saturn in Libra, how that can be interpreted, Saturn in the ninth house, the degree that it's at. And then if I come in here into the aspect circle, so these lines represent the conversations that Saturn is having with other planetary bodies in the chart. Let's just click this red line here. It lets me know that Saturn is in a strong opposition with Eris. Now, while Eris is not currently supported, it's a little lesser known. One of the heavenly bodies, this app supports certain asteroids and trans-Neptunian objects. I won't get into all of them, but if you were to find, let's just see, something that's more specific. Let's see Moon opposite Pluto here. Moon in strong opposition with Pluto. These planetary energies are polarized. Outer events stimulate their interaction. Integration is the challenge. It'll give you all sorts of information about the dynamic there. Now, you don't have to go by the time passages interpretation. In fact, most of the time I don't. As I said, for me, this has been more of a remembering than it has been a learning of astrology. But if you're just learning, this application is immensely useful in helping you understand the dynamics within your own life and the dynamics going on between you and your twin as a single unit or a single energy body in your union chart. So that's the Time Passages app. Let's make sure I'm covering all my bases here. The most significant thing that I'm working with and looking for when I'm working with a union chart is the location of the North Node. You'll see that cyan or teal colored horseshoe up here in the 10th house of this chart. That's the North Node for this sample union chart. The South Node of the Moon lives opposite it. These are not technically planetary heavenly bodies. These are sensitive points in a chart. I won't get into the mathematics about how they're calculated. You can Google that. It'll bore you to tears, I promise. But once you know this point is indicative of what the two of you are meant to be learning at this moment in time, which is why I like to say you don't have to use the oldest first. If the two of you have been in each other's worlds for years, you can use the most recent significant first, i.e., coming out of a period of a separation or moving into the same city and for the first time seeing each other in that city. You can use that to cast your union chart because that will let you know what cycle you're in, and the North Node really governs that cycle. The North Node will tell you what it is that the two of you are supposed to be learning at this time in this cycle. Now, interestingly, I've noticed with twins, the North Node in the union chart actually really complements the individual lessons that they're meant to be learning in their natal chart. So, for example, in this North Node sample union chart, we've got a North Node in Sagittarius in the 10th house of fame and honors. Sagittarius is all about goals, long distance travel, higher ideals, higher education. This would almost be a direction and a journey towards learning how to share what you've learned and become known for what you have learned in this lifetime. With that kind of North Node energy, I would expect in the two twins chart that one or the other of them is going through some level of career reshaping, career transition, and or one or the other of them in their natal chart by transit is perhaps going through a relocation, and people are going to get to know them in the new location. That's identity outside your family, house of fame and honors, 10th house. And like I said, the individual charts will tell you exactly what's going on to complement this North Node. But as long as you're paying attention to the lessons the North Node is asking you to work with, you're going to get a lot more ease in your connection with your twin, a lot more ease in the unfoldment of your own life. You will notice that places that have previously been sticky, problematic, challenging, even relationships that have been, complicated, they begin to unravel. The thing that I have noticed is that the more we're making North Node choices, the easier our lives become. And that is what allows you to ascend and get the best of your astrological transits instead of the worst. So, for example, one of the most difficult transits that you can have is when the planet Saturn transits your natal moon. That means the Saturn is moving through the sky and it's sitting on top of your natal moon, either right before it in the sign house before it, right on top of it, or right after it. That particular Saturn transit is known as Sati Sati to the Vedic astrologers, which is called 7.5 years of Saturn, because it takes 7.5 years for Saturn to move through each of those 3 positions in a chart, 2.5 years per position. I recently read for someone who had Sati Sati with moon in Capricorn. Capricorn loves to work. It is disciplined, work ethic. It's all about legacy and tradition. And when Saturn, the harsh teacher, the separator, the restorer of integrity, comes to sit on top of moon, which represents needs in the way that I read charts, what you end up having is an inability to get your needs met in the house and sign that moon lives. For this particular client with moon in Saturn, or Saturn transiting moon in Capricorn, it was an inability to work. So, when I said, what's going on with work, the worst of that is you're laid off and you can't get a job. The very best of that is what my client had going on, which was inability to work in the industry they were in due to having signed a non-compete agreement, but being financially totally fine until the non-compete is over. Like, that's getting the best of a transit. Now, I say this in all of my videos, and I'll say this again to you now. It is possible to completely transcend your astrology, to get to a place where it no longer matters to you because it's just not governing your world anymore. And as twins, as awakened light workers, our ability to manifest our way in that direction is much higher than the average unconscious being on planet Earth. So I just want to put that out there, that it's important for you to know. The astrology can guide you toward that path of transcendence. And you also will come to a point where it just doesn't even matter. You're getting what you want, how you want, the way you want as a master creator on planet Earth. Okay. So covered that. Okay. Got my notes here, just making sure I'm covering everything. So one pattern that I noticed that I'm seeing is, and actually real quick, I just want to make sure that I say this to you. Take a look up here in the upper left-hand corner of the sample union chart. You'll see I've got the date, but I've also got the time. And on the lower left, I've got the location of the meeting. That's what you're looking for. You need the time, date, and location of that significant verse to cast your own union chart. And as I said, Time Passage is a great app. You can use their free version. They have a light version for mobile that will help you take this step and work this on your own. Let's see. All right, yes. So there is a pattern I'm noticing to the twins that I'm seeing walk into sessions with me at this time. And it's actually sharply surprising to me because it speaks to where we're at as human beings right now on the planet, but also where the twin collective is on the whole. Out of all 12 signs that there are to have, there are 2 signs in particular that are actively kind of working their process right now, and seeking support and help to do their transcendence on the ascension path. And that first sign, the number one sign I'm seeing a whole lot of right now, is Leo. Leo by far and wide is not necessarily Leo as a sun sign, but Leo as a north node. I'm finding that the majority of people who come to see me have their union chart north node in Leo. And to my clients who know this, hello. Thanks for coming to see me. It was great to read for you. I believe the reason why is because, as you know, as twin light workers, a big piece of our job on planet Earth is to transform the conversation around love and relationship and escalate the vibration or elevate the vibration toward unconditional love. I believe the reason why so many twins with union chart North Node and Leo are coming to see me, or activated at this time, I should say, is because of the activation they received in 2017 and in 2018 on the Leo Aquarius eclipse axis. So this is the astrology zone table of eclipses. I'll link this under the video as well so you can check it out. But this table of eclipses lets you know, roughly every year and a half or so, the North Node changes signs, but you also get a series of eclipses on a particular axis, and all signs work in pairs. So just like in this union chart sample, there's the North Node here in Libra. You've got its pair out here in Aries, the South Node. Leo and Aquarius are also a pair. So I believe it's because we went through an eclipse cycle that was majority Leo Aquarius in 2018 and the latter parts of 2017. We're now in a Capricorn Cancer eclipse cycle, so I believe I'm going to start seeing more of them post-activation in 2020. But the thing that is interesting to pay attention to about that is that Leo really represents a return to sovereignty. It's the sign of the king, the sign of the provider for the people. It is the symbol of royalty. And this particular energy, depending upon where it falls, what house in your union chart, is all about the place where you and your twin are truly a power couple energetically. Whether you are physically together or not, each of you is resonating, vibrating, emitting the frequency of that power from your physical energetic beings. So I really love that, because I think what we're showing people as twins is how to come back to who they truly are and how to truly stand in their power and how to be unapologetic about the power that they wield in their lives. Now, there's one other sign I'm seeing a lot of, and I can't put that down to eclipse cycles. Actually, I kind of could, because I can see 2015, 2014 here. That eclipse cycle was significant all the way through 2016. And that's Libra. Libra is the second North Node sign in union charts that I'm seeing a vast majority of. Like, it's uncanny how many people come in with their union date and their union chart North Node is in Libra. There's an interesting thing going on there, because what's happening there in Libra with the Libra North Node is a movement toward learning how to partner, a movement toward learning how to collaborate, not just compromise. Collaboration is more about, hey, what do you need? Like, I'm a total stand for you getting what you need. Great, that's what it is. Okay, in order for me to provide you with that, I need this. And as opposed to compromise where, oh, well, I guess I have to give this up and you have to give that up for us to coexist. No. When two people come together, their worlds should get bigger, not smaller. And so with Libra North Nodes, these twins who are, in activation right now, they're presently learning the lessons and emitting the vibrational frequency of learning that kind of collaboration, learning how to be with others and allow their world to get bigger. So as I say, North Node changes signs every year and a half. The eclipse cycles, I do believe, maybe have something to do with the twins that are kind of getting activated wave by wave. There's a lot you can look at in addition to the North Node. There's who's the North Node talking to by conjunction, opposition, square, sextile, trine, that tell you more about how the North Node in your union chart is meant to operate and helps you hone in on expediting integration of the lesson that you're actually here to learn. Because once you learn that lesson, you can move into the next cycle. Together or separate, whatever your free will has given you to choose. Okay, so there's that. What's the third thing here? Yep, got that. Okay, the fourth thing. Yep, talked about that when you come together again after a longer period of separation, a new chart is cast, indicating a new cycle with new lessons. Let's see, and the last thing here that I wanted to share is, yes, so if you want me to have a look at your particular union chart with your twin, I'm happy to do that. Just email me to set that up, chrysalismoon@gmail.com, KRYSALISMOON@gmail.com. And we'll have a look at the North Node for your union chart, the cycle that the two of you are moving within. We'll also have a look at each of your natal charts and specifically what this cycle is asking of each of you at this time. So for example, my twin and I just moved into a new cycle with the North Node in Cancer after a long period of no communication separation. Prior to that, we had, I believe it was a North Node in Leo, and that's how we did our separation cycle with North Node in Leo. We did a return to sovereignty separately, which makes total sense. But now North Node's in Cancer, and I'm seeing that there's a lot more fluid, nurturing, at home, peaceful, emotionally transparent communication between us. Is it, exactly how I want it to be? No, we still have a ways to go. This is a lifetime journey. But what I'm seeing is that North Node in Cancer piece is supporting us with the individual lessons we're learning in our natal chart. So again, Cancer being about home, families, the identity that you got either by birth, ethnicity, or neighborhood, etc. That's all fourth house stuff. When, for me, I can see, and it's been in my natal chart for a while, that there is a physical move of home on the horizon for me. In my twins chart, I can see that there is a reintegration of a piece of who they were as a child into who they are becoming now in this stage of life. And so both of our natal charts are really reflecting that North Node in different ways. And we separately have very different individual North Nodes, but in the union chart, you get this opportunity to see, even though we may not be exactly together, there are ways that we are growing together at this time. And it can provide a sense of peace, comfort, and a little bit of hope around the fact that, there's this person I'm connected to, and the two of us are still moving on parallel tracks. Whether that's toward the same end or a different one, who knows? I don't believe all twins were meant to come together in this lifetime. That's not what I've been shown. I've been shown that free will is the trump card energy, and that some twins are choosing not to do that in this lifetime. And I'm also seeing that some twins weren't soul contracted for that in this lifetime. They're soul contracted for that in other lifetimes, because the soul lives for quite longer than the human body does. So Take that with a fistful of salt. Go with what you've been shown about your connection. You are the person who says what it is and what it's not, what it becomes and what it isn't. Especially as twins and light workers, as I say, you've got much greater manifestation capacity than the average muggle out here on planet Earth. So have fun with it. Enjoy your journey. And again, if you'd like me to have a look at your union chart and your natal charts, just book a union chart reading with me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com. I will link the email below.